Hi guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. And for those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. I greatly appreciate them. This is the daily forecast for all signs. It is a collective reading, so it's available to anybody and everybody that watches it. It is originally created for Saturday, August 21st. It's not solely set for that date though. If you're seeing it on a different date than the 21st, that's okay. I would take the message rather than the date. So keep that in mind. I do speak in broad terms, so you need to figure out where this all best fits in your life, if at all. And if it doesn't, that's okay. It doesn't mean anything's wrong or broken. It just might mean that you're working on something different at this time. Check out the video description in the drop-down menu below the video on YouTube, on any of the daily videos. In there is information about how to find me on social media channels, how to, PayPal me if you want a private reading, or if you want to send me a tip on a reading that you find particularly impactful, or that's it, really. And also some things I want you to think about when using my readings here on YouTube, okay? There's just some stuff I want you to read, like house rules and whatever. Beyond that, let's get into these cards and see. Oh, other ways you can help the channel. Please share the video out, let your friends know about me, and leave a comment, leave a question. I read them all on YouTube. You can subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you get notified when I go live. And also give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. I greatly appreciate those too. All right, here is our card for the end of the week. So it is Grimalkin. We saw this card at the very beginning of the month, I believe. This is a special card that was created just for this deck. The deck is called Grimalkin. It is also a major arcana card that was added in by the artist M.J. Cullinane. And Grimalkin, I had to actually read it because I didn't really know the meaning of this card when it first came up. I want to say in the very beginning of the month. And it is basically like old crone energy, right? She is sort of like the other side of the high priestess that we saw yesterday. She's a little bit more in touch. There's a little bit less, I think, secrets to her. She's a little bit more passively connected, if that makes sense, than the high priestess. The high priestess is connected, but she's sort of secretive and she hides what she knows. She doesn't make her her knowledge readily available, where I feel like Grimalkin is sort of the opposite of that. She knows she's connected. She shares that she's connected. She doesn't need to convince anyone, change anyone, or change anything, right? And what that makes me think about, it's interesting that we have both High Priestess and Grimalkin following, one right after the other on this weekend. Because remember, that underpinning card is death, right? That Scorpio energy. Grimalkin, I don't think, is associated with any planet or astrological sign, as far as I know, because it's sort of a special card. But it is definitely like sort of in touch, feminine wisdom, intuition, that connection with the divine, there's not a need to control everything with Grimalkin, right? We know that we're safe. We are in faith. We are in that understanding of whatever transformation that death card might be bringing to us, that we will see the other side of this. There's like sort of a peace and a wisdom. We look at that white owl up there that is flying above her head. That's definitely like a purity because of the whiteness, but also the knowledge and wisdom that comes with the energy of owl. So if you see that right here, she's kind of connected to it all, right? The poppies would indicate a sort of new life, or maybe a new chapter coming into being from whatever it is we've just come through, or whatever might be transforming with the energy of that death card, that Scorpio energy that kind of underlies her. Needless to say, I feel like this is us leaning into that sort of high priestess energy that we saw yesterday, and maybe becoming a little bit more adept at, owning who we are and what we know, not necessarily being quite so frightened or scared, not being sort of vulnerable or victimized by our situation. feeling like maybe that knowledge that the High Priestess carries with her, or maybe keeps hidden, is finally starting to settle in within us. And we're understanding why we're dealing with the challenges of whatever that death card is presenting to us, right? It's some sort of an ending of some sort. And it's usually, with me and the death card, it's always that inevitability that death brings about, that we can't fight it. The more we resist it, the worse or more painful it's going to be, or the more of a struggle it's going to be. And it takes so much energy just to, like, you know, either mentally or emotionally or even physically resist something, right? That it can kind of burn us out or tire us out. That's not Grimalkin's energy. Grimalkin sort of accepts things as they are, and she sort of settles into it, knowing who she is very clearly, and feels very safe or secure in that knowledge. Does that make sense? Where with yesterday's High Priestess, there's a little bit of like the unknown with her that could make us feel a little bit nervous or scared, right? So whatever she has taught us over the past 24 hours, if she's taught us anything, we've now sort of adopted it or assimilated it, or certainly made it part of our knowledge base. And now we're able to sit more comfortably in it and sort of watch almost in a passive state as to what goes on around us or how things transform, and understand that it's all part of a bigger picture or a greater plan that maybe we can just be in accord with or in ease with, regardless of whether or not we know the outcome. Does that make sense? And Grimalkin has that faith. She has that trust. And remember, trust is the grounding stone for the week. So here is, oh, I love it. Here is the card from the Psychic Tarot of the Heart, card number 2, and it is Listen. I love that she's giving me kind of witchy, dead-on energy too. She's paying attention, she's present, she's staring us straight in the eye. I love the bright vibrancy of the yellow. The yellow is a very mental color for me, meaning the like realm of the mind. The black border is kind of interesting. I feel like it's maybe connecting to the void or listening to sort of everything that's around us and processing it through our brain. Paying attention to the cues and the signals that are going on around us. Not necessarily taking action though, just being like present and aware. That would also very much be Grimalkin's energy, right? In the sense that we have these two strong feminine cards here, but they're sort of, how do I want to say, like they're connected, and in that connection or in the security of that connection, we might be able to hear something or see something from a different perspective. Does that make sense? The number 2 of the Listen card also makes me think of relationships. So if there's a passing of a loved one or a departure of a relationship of some sort, or a changing, some sort of transformation where the relationship might be in one form dying and turning into something else, now is the time to sort of pay attention, listen to what's being told to you, or listen to like sort of what's going on around you, and then kind of I would say with like Grimalkin's energy, allow it to inform you in a way so that you can use it to your advantage. Does that make sense? I definitely feel like this Listen card and Grimalkin, they're up to something. something very good, positive. Albeit, you know, they may not necessarily broadcast it or have need to like justify it or validate it or prove it. Does that make sense? They're sort of watching for social cues, or watching situations, allowing the situation to inform them so that they can make a better decision, or a decision that's made in sort of that idea of trust or faith than one out of fear or worry. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I do feel like these are two very quietly powerful cards today. So let's look to the grounding stone. And the grounding stone is just a principle that we want to ground in for the day, something that keeps us connected to the earth and to ourselves and in the present moment. And it's on malachite, which is associated with the 4th chakra, which is the heart, right? And it's energy. So I feel like there is definitely a calling here between these 3 cards to believe in oneself, to connect to one's own compassion towards oneself, to work from our heart chakra more so than, say, our ego or our mind, to listen to what's going on around us, to process that. I almost feel like with Grimalkin's energy and her being sort of connected to the other side, or to spirit in a way, and then Listen being so yellow and mental, it's almost like we can allow our spiritual connection to to inform our mind, and then allow our energy to be resonating at this beautiful place of this malachite, which is not only communication, right? Because it can be associated with communication, or it's a good stone for communication, but it's also associated with the heart. So communicating from a place of compassion, love, or maybe, you know, sometimes not even communicating can be an act of compassion, right? Just allowing. There was something very specific, now that I'm thinking about it, in Grimalkin's definition about allowing people to make their mistakes so that they learn in their own time, and to not necessarily have to control them or save them or change them. And so there's a beauty to this. There's a quiet confidence to these cards, and there's certainly a compassion to these cards. That compassion should be turned upon ourselves first and foremost, and then upon others, right? See how the day informs you. Trust what your heart tells you. Trust what you hear, or, you know, sort of what you sense even. I get more of a sensing thing with this listen card, especially with Grimalkin's presence here. That is your forecast, you guys. Enjoy the day. It should be beautiful. And thank you so much for tuning in. Please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, share the video out with your friends, leave me a question or comment. All of those things are greatly, greatly appreciated. Help me to build my channel, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for the new weekly for Sunday. All right, take care. Bye-bye.